What up, YouTube? Thanks for coming and checking us out for another video. I'm T.
And I'm Renee.
And this is Life is Real TV. Today we have a video from Pink Book Lessons. And I know she's talking about Stacey Abrams and Kevin Samuels and Tariq Nasheed. Anything else that you want to add before we just jump into it?
Let's dive in.
All right, so we're going to get into the video. Shout out to Pink Book Lessons, and we're going to give our thoughts after.
Stacey Abrams, she's on her second campaign for Georgia governor. She lost her first race in 2018 when her opponent, Governor Brian Kemp, won the seat. The two are battling it out in a rematch for the 2022 election. In some polls, you have Brian Kemp leading Stacey Abrams, but the race is still too close to really predict who's going to be the winner. Remember when he beat her back in 2018, Kemp only won by 54,000 votes, making it the closest governor's race in Georgia since 1966. Abrams claimed there was a miscalculation of votes. Just like Trump, who never conceded Georgia in the 2020 presidential election, Abrams didn't concede in 2018 either. The second time around, the Abrams campaign, they've been attempting to reach out to black men for several months now, leading up to the election. She had one ad where she was speaking to a group of black men, some popular black men in the ad as well. And for a couple of months, she's been running all kinds of radio ads and online media campaigns reaching out to black men for their votes. But it seems like the Democratic strategists and folks rooting for Stacey Abrams, they're already lining up an explanation just in case she's hit with a second loss in November.
So I'm not putting black men down, but sometimes it's like, well, some of you Kevin Samuels following Tariq Nasheed quoting people, please look at the truth and see what's happening and get in line with some of the black women.
Take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Click the notification bell for all updates. Georgia, if you're watching from GA, drop Georgia below in the comments. I definitely want to hear from you. So there's a show on MSNBC hosted by Tiffany Cross. Tiffany is from Cleveland, Ohio. She grew up between both Cleveland and Atlanta, graduated from Clark Atlanta University. She's got a show on MSNBC based out of DC. Side note, much love to DC and Cleveland. A lot of great folks out there. But we have to be honest about what's going on in Georgia with Stacey Abrams. She's been doing really well with the LGBT, but she's having a problem connecting with black voters, and not just black men, but black women too. You have a lot of black women in Georgia. They're not 100% on board with Stacey. Yeah, on the national scene, you see a lot of women stumping for her on these national talk shows, radio shows, podcasts, celebrities, and folks with no stake in Georgia, not registered to vote in Georgia. They don't even live in Georgia. And not only is Stacey failing to mobilize North Georgia, the Atlanta metro and those areas, but she's not connecting with the rest of Georgia either. I'm talking about the homegrown Georgia, folks that's been there for 100 plus years, not just the Atlanta folks that just moved there from the Midwest or Northeast. I'm talking about the Georgia that no one ever talks about. The ones who also have a say-so on who's going to be the governor. Their votes count too. Like Valdosta, Albany, Tifton, Macon, Brunswick, Columbus, Augusta, even down to the small cities. And I'm going to say a city right now that I know very well, and I know at least one of y'all watching right now. You know it too. I'm talking about Attapulgis. Stacey Abrams isn't connected with the folks of Attapulgis, Georgia. So she's definitely not connecting with the city folks of Atlanta. What they're not being honest about is Stacey is failing to mobilize black people in general. But instead of acknowledging that she has a black people problem, they're already sowing the seeds to blame black men if Abrams is left holding the L in November.
I will say, a lot of black men sometimes feel like they're ignored or they're put down, particularly sometimes even by black women in the media. So this is not that. But I do hear Roland's point that felt ignored. But you feel ignored, and then you go over to the other side. The oppressed feel oppressed. So then you go and try to align with the oppressor. So I'm not putting black men down, but sometimes it's like, well, some of you Kevin Samuels following Tariq Nasheed quoting people, please look at the truth and see what's happening and get in line with some of the black women. Is majority, like he said, vote Democrat, but that margin of people who could be plucked away from your...
All right, y'all, so there you have part of the video from Pink Book Lessons, but I would recommend going and checking out the rest if you want to see, hear all of her commentary and, everything that comes with that. I'm going to put a link down in the description. Um, but wow, that was a lot. Well, me personally, I've never really been a fan of Stacey Abrams. Um, she just has never said anything. Uh, and granted, I'm not down in Georgia, so it really hasn't been too much a concern of mine. But just based off of the stuff that I've seen about her in the media, she just seems a little bit too radical to me. I don't personally care for a lot of these radical politicians. And when I say radical, I'm talking about like, the ones that won't clearly just define what a woman is, because they're so into all of these pronouns and stuff. Like, and that's what I mean, radical. The stuff that's just some of this stuff that's going on nowadays just is too outlandish for me. And she seems like she's kind of on that, So I really don't mess with her. Even in the video that we just saw, the reporter said that she's been able to gain some ground with the LGBT community, LGBTQ or whatever. But with regular black people, whether you're talking about men or women, she hasn't been able to do that. And I think that's why. I think that a lot of people, especially with what's going on right now, how hard it is for a lot of people just to get by on a day to day right now. I think a lot of people are just tired of the BS, and realizing the BS. And and black men, like, we should just get on board with black women. Why? The thing about black men, I think we're going to be more logical, you know what I'm saying? So if you want us to get on board, I think more of us are like, well, why? What are we getting on board for? Or are we just getting on board to get on board? And she also even made a statement about like going over to the other side and the oppressors and things like that. It was a very, very ignorant statement, in my opinion. I mean, her might as well just say all of us are supposed to vote the same. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to ask no questions. You know, you're not supposed to think. You're not supposed to think for yourself. Just vote with us. Just vote, I guess, Democrat. And it's just like, if you just been doing something for so long and it's not getting you nowhere, eventually anybody with a sound mind is going to start to like take a couple steps back, like, well, where is this getting me? What is giving these people my vote year after year after year? Like, where is it getting me? Where is it getting us? And I honestly don't think it will be a problem getting black men on board if you told us what we were getting on board for, and it would have to be believable, because I think that more and more people nowadays are seeing how there be a lot of talk. There be a lot of talk with no action, and that's actually going on right now. Right now, we are experiencing this, So you're asking black men to just keep doing the same thing? Nah, that don't make sense to me. But I know I was a little long winded, Renee. What are your thoughts?
Well, no, I appreciate your passion and your statements, because I was going to ask you, are we going to go there? And we are here. So, first off, shout out to Pink Book Lessons.
Yeah.
Woman, you really rock as far as the information that you brought, how concise you brought it, all of the facts and everything, and we're able to do our own investigations from here on out, and discussions as we are supposed to do, right? Because that's what when we vote for our politicians, like, we are hoping that we have some stake in what is going to be the outcome.
You would hope.
Yes, this call out by Tiffany Cross was very um, it was a lot for me to hear. It made me a little upset to hear that, because I wouldn't want anyone to call us out in the media in that way. So
Call who out? Who got called
Oh,
out?
us as far as black women.
Well, no, who did Tiffany Cross call out?
Oh, she called out black men who, the Kevin Samuel, Tariq Nasheed types. I just heard boxes of and labels and groups that, certain types of men would fit into, or all black men. That was really, really specific. It was, I think, disrespectful. And again, I see the femininity and the physical attributes, but the energy behind it is very masculine, saying get on board with black women. And we have other ways of communicating. We have other ways of getting someone to do what we want them and need them to do. And I don't think that's the way. Just hearing it, honestly speaking, like, not to say that I'm perfect in any way, but hearing that statement, it was very harsh. And I don't know what other community is speaking to their other half in that way. You know, what is the problem with us getting along? Why is it sensational for the media to allow our domestic issues be on display? It's
Well,
interesting
I
to
think
me.
we have to take control of that. I
Oh,
mean, because
okay.
when you talk about other communities, are other communities so willing to disrespect one another and publicly, talk about one another, the way we do? I mean, so I mean, I think that question does have to be asked. I mean, no one made Tiffany Cross talk about black men like that. I mean, I would suppose if another group of women, whether they be Asian or whatever, want to get on there and talk about their men like that, they could. But I just think that a lot of other cultures, they stay on code. And I think for us, we just be way off code. Like, I think she was off code. And I think that, like, we have to get back to the point where, and it's kind of tough, especially with a lot of the stuff that you hear in like our music and things like that. But I do think we have to get back to the point where, like, we check one another, as
Respectfully.
respectfully as a community, so, like, for example, in this case where the young lady Tiffany Cross was kind of, as you say, kind of boxing a lot of men. I feel like some women should probably be checking her, like, and I think that we have to, like, make that normal, where we're not so comfortable to publicly disrespect one another like that, because I do feel like that might be part of it in other communities why that type of thing doesn't happen, because when you do things that go against uh, whatever the rules are of the community, it's checked, and I just kind of think that nothing's checked in our community anymore. I think we were just reading another story that we were going to do where it was talking about the women are out of line, and maybe the men are out of line too, but everybody's just out of line. But yeah, that was a great point, Renee. Bringing up the whole Tiffany Cross part. Yeah.
Well, yes. It's nice talking to you because here it is. This story started off with Stacey Abrams, and what we heard is that there's a lack of connection to the black community, black men specifically, and even black women. And here you are, a black man, you're not in Georgia, but you're saying that, yeah, I also don't connect with her. So I think that, if there's somebody that's running for campaigns and you want to represent our communities and our people, why not listen to what the community members are saying, especially those that matter, whose votes matter. I don't think that you should be writing anybody off. And for us, if we want protection, we shouldn't, poke the bear and say certain things that would cause someone to have any type of resentment And as far as like any thoughts to say like I don't want to protect you or something like that, because maybe you're not going to listen, or you're just going to disrespect me anyway, or you're going to take me for granted, so why should I protect you? I think that's a human thing. If anybody gets treatment in that way, being taken for granted, you're not going to take it for much longer. And it's a lot to be said in this video, so thank you all for listening.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot to be said. But I definitely think that we need to respect black people's minds as individuals. It's very insulting for Tiffany Cross to talk like all black people. And remember, Joe Biden did the same thing to us before he was elected when he said,
If you don't vote for me,
you ain't black if you don't vote for me.
And
She's basically saying the same thing in a roundabout way. You're basically saying that black people do not have the ability to think for themselves. It's just like, oh, we're doing it. You should just get in line, just like follow the leader, you know. So black men, we should be led by the women now, you know, because we can't think for ourselves. We should just get in line and be led by you all. You know, it's totally insulting. It's totally disrespectful. You know, and we can think for ourselves, and not just, and it's not just black men. There are plenty of black women out here who are tired of the foolishness. They're tired of the empty promises. You know, they're tired of the smoke screens. They're just tired. You know, they're tired of everyone else's issues getting addressed except ours. Trust me, it's not just black men. But that's really all I got to say about this. This is a pretty passionate topic for me. But yeah, I don't have anything else to say about it. Do you have anything else you wanted to add, Renee?
yes, there was an earlier portion, or there was a portion of the video where, um, well, how do I want to say this? Um, Earlier, I mentioned representation in the media and not wanting to be represented and say in a bad way. There was another video that we did on the Udoka situation, and I did not want to come across as offensive to Nia Long. I love Nia Long. I think that she is representative of our community as far as black women with grace, black women who have carried their reputation in one of the best ways possible. Someone who is very attractive, yes, very sexy, but it's not fair for anything to get misconstrued as if there's any attack on her. So I just want to make that very, very clear that she's someone I look up to, and being in the industry and choosing to be a role model, I don't think that's an easy thing, because everybody can get paid doing a lot of things by taking off their clothes. And she is a role model because she has made certain decisions to have a certain image. And I don't want to down her in any way. That is not what I want to do.
And you know, and going back to the whole Udoka situation, I said in the very beginning, I honestly don't think that what he did had anything to do with Nia Long at all. I think that a lot of times when men make decisions, women quite naturally take it personally. Well, what's wrong with me? You know, and a lot of times, it's nothing wrong with you. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, ladies, men are just gonna do what men do, and it has nothing to do with you. It's not because you're not good enough, or because you weren't doing something right. And in my opinion, I mean, we don't know everything. We probably won't know everything about that situation. But if I had to guess, I would just think that that was the case with Udoka and Nia Long as well. But if you don't have anything else to add,
No.
yeah, if you don't have anything else to add, we can just go ahead and wrap it up. But thanks for listening to us, y'all. Please comment, give us your thoughts on this situation.
There's so much to say on this topic, so thank you all for your time and attention. I hope that you have these conversations in your own households, amongst your friends, amongst your family,
Yeah.
and be blessed. Yes.
All right, y'all. Until next time. Peace.
Bye.